Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Artist Spotlight Show right here on Music Dreams USA Radio. We are a distributed iHeart radio station on the iHeart Radio, and welcome to our YouTube channel. And tonight, it's another edition of the Artist Spotlight Show being brought to you by Blue Shamrock Music and Mr. Stephen Brady, and also Biker Bay Barber and Company, Karen. And if you're into live music, we've got you covered right here on Music Dreams USA Radio. And if you want some more information, you can send us a request to info.musicdreamsusa@gmail.com. It's your friend Russell K. And it is so great to be here with you this evening. Thank you so much for hanging out with us here. And we got a special guest on the show, all the way from the lovely Australia. We got Mr. Carl Emerton. He is in the building, ladies and gentlemen, and we're super excited to bring him live on the air. We're gonna, find out about his musical career, find out about his music, his songwriting, what's the craziest things ever happened to him in the music industry. What's he looking forward to doing in 2025? We're gonna find the answers to these questions and much more. And so, without any further ado delay, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mr. Carl Emerton. Mr. Emerton, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, thanks, Russell. Very well.
Welcome to the big show. We're glad you're here. And what's going on? How's the weather up there in beautiful Australia?
Well, I don't know. It's about 12 degrees here, so I reckon that's around 60 degrees in your expression. It's overcast. We're in winter, so I can't complain. It's not. I haven't got a puffer jacket on or anything like that, so I can live with it. I live in a pretty nice spot, I've got to say. So I look over the ocean, so I can pretend I'm anywhere in the world really, and think that I'm on some tropical shore. Doesn't matter what the temperature is.
Oh, awesome! Does it snow out that way? You guys get snow?
We get snow in Australia, but it's about 6-hour drive south of here. So the Snowy Mountains. It's just they sort of border Victoria and New South Wales, and a 6-hour drive. I'm not sure how many kilometres that is. It's probably about 700 or 800 kilometres or 500 miles, something like that.
Awesome. Well, as I mentioned, it's so nice to meet you. And let's kick off our show. If you maybe would like to share with our listeners, how did you get into the music industry?
That's a fairly complicated question for me. I used to be a rugby coach, so I know you're involved with sports commentary as well. But so I used to coach like kind of elite level teams. They were rep teams, representative teams from New South Wales country. So anywhere that wasn't Sydney, we could pick players from, and we used to do international tours. I've been to Uruguay and South Africa and Fiji and Papua New Guinea, all sorts of places. And we had quite a few Indigenous boys in the teams. They were really good sportsmen, Aboriginal kids. But sometimes their lives weren't so good off the playing field, you see. So I made a film just to show people what sort of existence they had. And I'm not a real filmmaker, but I just liked imagery. I was involved in optics in another life too. I told you I was an optometrist, so I can understand lenses. Just stop me if I'm waffling, mate. Okay. So anyway, long story short is I captured these images which were quite good, but there were some voids in the audio for the film. So I thought I'll have to write some songs to dump over the top of the imagery to make the film more whole. And so that's how I got into writing music, I suppose. And when I was a kid, actually, I went to New Zealand and played rugby there and stayed with a Maori family. And all the Polynesians, they all play the guitar, you see. So I was envious of them. And the guy I lived with over there, he came back and lived with me in Sydney. And he showed me how to play the guitar. So sort of my music experiences stem from way back then.
Oh, wow. So you used to be a rugby player, huh?
I was a player and more recently a coach. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I am a sports personality as well. And, one thing I know about rugby, That's a pretty rough sport. If you're not in shape and if you can't take toughness, that's definitely not the sport for you.
Yeah, so well, actually, a couple of months ago, I had a knee replacement resulting from all my rugby injuries, or one of the rugby injuries. But that's life. You wouldn't not do it. It's just fantastic to be involved in any kind of sport, really. As you know, like there's aspects of sport that are intangible. You can't really explain to people that don't get involved what the joy in sport is.
Yeah, I played soccer. I actually had professional tryouts with Buffalo in the Wichita Wings, and I was up in Wichita, Kansas, and I was a goalie. And you probably see my finger, like how swollen it is right
Oh
now.
yeah,
Yeah, it's my middle
yeah,
one, and I'm not sticking
yeah,
my
right.
finger in it too.
Yeah,
But yeah, I was up in Wichita, Kansas, and a guy took a blast from the point, and I stopped the ball. I made a great save, but it actually kind of like shattered my hand. So
yeah.
that was the end of my professional soccer career, and from there I got into radio, and here we are today. So
Yeah, right.
that's about me. Tell me more about you.
Yeah. Well, as I say, I wrote a song for that film, and it's you know, when you're an amateur like I was back then, you have to enter in film festivals to see if anyone likes your work and potentially can lead to other things. And one of my songs was recognized in a couple of the video film festivals, and so I thought, oh, there's something in this. And you know, being an ancient fellow like myself, couldn't keep playing rugby, you know, and I'd done about 10, 15 years coaching, so uh, I was at a stage of life where music suited me to envelop or embrace as much as I have done.
So now that we're talking about music, let's talk about your songs. You know, you've got some songs out there that are pretty cool. Would you like to maybe share those songs with our listeners and kind of like how they started, and what do you feel about those songs right now?
Well, my three most recent songs, one is called I Crashed My Drone in Texas. The other one is Carved in Stone. And the more recent one is Fox's Tale. They're actually three quite different songs, as you know. I Crashed My Drone in Texas is based on a true story. My son, Adrian, is a cinematographer, and he was filming like hotel groups give loyalty programs for people that spend zillions of dollars with them, and they take them away on trips, right? So the idea for Adrian was to film this group of people that were lucky enough to be sent to Marfa, Texas. And Marfa's like a boutique town, apparently. You know, they've got all sorts of strange shops like Prada and you know, upmarket shops that you wouldn't expect in the middle of the desert. Anyway, long story short is he was filming a party that this hotel group had put on for the people, and over his console it came that it said that you're in restricted airspace, you're being decommissioned, and basically his drone dropped out of the sky because apparently next door was a US Air Force base, right? So the Air Force blocked his drone, it fell to earth, and so anyway he came home and told me the story. He said, "Oh, Dad, guess what? I crashed my drone in Texas." I thought, that's a country song if I've ever heard one, right? So then I sort of morphed it into a romantic song about a young woman that was looking for her lover, and she was pretty tech savvy, so she was using a drone to find her lover who disappeared. You know, so that's the genesis of that film. The next film I mentioned, Carved in Stone, is a friend of mine, another optometrist like myself. He found out something about his family heritage that he didn't know about. That he found out that he had some Aboriginal blood going right back to the day, and it turned out that one of his like great uncles enlisted in the Australian Army when he was only 16 for the First World War. You see, and he wanted me to encapsulate that man's short life. Like, he enlisted when he was 16. He basically was killed when he was 17 or 18, you know, fighting on the Western Front. And so that's why that's me singing. Whereas Carolina Cruzat, my friend, she sings in the other song I was talking about. And more recently, Fox's Tale. I've got a unique relationship with a guy called Bill Chambers, who's one of the top Australian country musicians, and his daughter Casey Chambers is known around the world. And anyway, Bill used to be a fox hunter back in the day, and when people were buying fox pelts for fur coats and things like that, and he used to spend 6 months of the year out in the desert catching foxes or shooting foxes, because they're feral animals in Australia. They're not native to Australia. And I was doodling in my mind with song lines, and the first line is moonshine, desert plain, stars compete for space. And so that reminded me of Bill. So then I sort of wrote this song that was loosely built around Bill's life, but there's a lot of division in the world nowadays. So I was trying to get it's kind of an allegory for let's live and let live. We have differences, but surely we can get together. So it's about the hunter and the fox, and I kind of wrote it so that you weren't sure who the hunter was. Was it in the lyrics? You don't know whether you're the hunter or the fox that's singing that, and so that's where that comes from.
Mm-hmm.
I've got others. Yeah. So those three songs, they're on the streaming platforms and that sort of thing. Strangely, they've suddenly taken off. I don't know why. Like in the last couple of weeks, there's been a couple of thousand streams of them. Someone must have got hold of them. I don't know what's going on there, but I'm pretty happy about that.
That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that with us. I mean, that's what we love about the show. You found out some pretty cool things about the artist. And again, thank you for doing so. And so now that we're onto your music, I mean, how can our listeners are watching now, we'll be watching later, how can they get in contact with you to get a hold of that amazing music that we just spoke about?
Well, I've got my Instagram, the artist name, so to speak, where it's more of a collaboration between 3 or 4 of us, but particularly Bill and I. So we call ourselves Desert Pair. So because in that first film, tell me if I'm getting too wordy again, but in that first film, there's a scene, I made a video, and there's a scene with cactus or cacti. And so I was thinking, Prickly Pear would be a good name for a band, but, everyone else has thought of that. And there's a line in the song about Desert Rose, and that's already been taken. So I sort of stole one from the other and called it Desert Pair. So my Instagram handle is Desert Pair 1. So you can go to Instagram and find it. Or if someone really wanted to find out, they could email me on CSEmerton, which is CSEMERTON @gmail.com, and they'll get me that way.
Awesome. Appreciate you sharing that. And so what do you think about country music as it stands today? Do you like it? You don't like it? What is your feedback on country music as it stands right now?
Well, it's an interesting question, isn't it? Because it's gone from being like a very quite narrow, like country and western genre, and it's spreading its wings right out to country rock and all sorts of things. Like if Beyonce can do it, I can do it, I reckon, basically. But it's I'm sort of more, I think I sort of lend myself more to the folk aspects of country rather than the country rock, because I like, to be honest, I've got limitations with my own musicianship. Bill, my mate, has got no limitations. And I think I just like the storytelling. I'm an old guy. I can't talk about chasing girls around a bar and getting pissed with them, sorry, having a few beers.
It's okay. You're good.
Having a few beers with my mates, and so I sort of, I'm more interested in storytelling. But you asked me about generally. Well, I mean, each to their own. Like, if you like the rock, that's great. If you like the storytelling or the folk, that's good. the American country music to me sounds a bit different to the Australian country music, because I think perhaps the roots are slightly different, because some of our country music has come out of the folk history of, say, the convicts or the early shearers back in the day when Australia was more of a European colony, and they brought the Irish influence and that sort of thing across. You're asking someone that doesn't really know what they're talking about, Russell. But anyway, that's the way I feel about it.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, when you come to the Artist Spotlight show, expect the unexpected. Right now, you and I are expecting the unexpected. So, how did you get in contact with Stephen Brady? How did that work out for you?
Well, I think mentioned I was in optics. I was an optometrist back in the day, and Stephen was one of my patients. And I happened to mention to him that I'd written songs for a few of my films, and he said, "Oh, if you want to release them, Carl, let me know." But I was still working at polishing people's eyeballs back in those days, so I didn't really, have the time or wherewithal to do that. But I had a health issue a few years ago, and I retired from optometry, and so that's when I sort of dived into music. And I remembered Stephen had his business, and so I contacted him, and he was very, very kind to me, because he knew back in those days I was more of a novice than I am now. So he was very helpful. And it seems to me anyone in the Australian country music scene uses Stephen to distribute their music to the radio and that sort of thing. He's a great guy.
He most certainly is, and that's one thing we love about him. He does the same thing we do. We support upcoming artists and do everything we can to help them to get their name and exposure out there. So yeah, I mean that's awesome to know, and thank you for sharing that story. What makes you love music so much?
Well, it's a very mindful experience, isn't it? You can escape the world, particularly when you're writing music, because you're in your own head, and it's an intellectual challenge as well. Like, particularly, I like wrangling the lyrics, because to make it flow, and you can find vocabulary that you'd forgotten, or you can use words to generate feelings, and that's sort of the proactive side of things. But the passive side of things is that it's so emotive, isn't it? It takes you back to things that you've done. It can calm you when you're feeling agitated. It can stir you up if you're too calm. It's everything, really. I mean, it's a pure art, really.
I couldn't agree with you more. Absolutely. So what's on the agenda for you? Do you have any upcoming concerts? What's on the agenda?
Well, I've got a few irons in the fire. I'm writing a couple of songs, and I'll take those to Bill, and we'll produce them, and we'll certainly put them up on the streaming platforms. I mentioned before, if people want to contact me, if they go to Spotify, they'll find Desert Pear and find those 3 songs that we were mentioning. There's a couple of other songs too, but those are the 3 main ones. And I haven't got any concerts lined up at the moment. Last year I went to Tamworth, which you probably know in Australia, that's the biggest music festival. I made a film or a video for my song Carved in Stone, and it was nominated as one of the best videos there. So I went up there. I didn't actually win it, but I got a nice certificate that I can hang on the wall. So I'll probably be making some videos as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so, in the cards for and get in front of crowds to crank out some of your amazing music. Is that something that you're looking to do down the line?
Oh, certainly down the line. I've had a few things on at the moment. As I say earlier before, my knee replacement, that sort of put the kibosh on things, family things, but it's all in the pipeline. Once I reconnect with Bill, we'll discuss those sort of things. But he's a hard man to get hold of because, as I say, he's one of the elites of the country music scene here in Australia. So Bill's, he supports me, but he's on a tour at the moment with Casey around Australia. It's called their Backbone Tour, and it's like every second day he seems to be playing a gig, which is so I need him to support me because, as I say, I like the lyrics and I like the tunes, but my musicality, like if I was honest, I need a guy like him with me to make me sound better or as good as I can sound anyway.
Yeah,
I'm being brutally honest here. So you can see the guitar in the background. I can play, but you just need someone to be the best. You got to be with the best, sort of thing. That's what I feel.
Well, it's funny that you have a guitar in the back seat on the back couch there. On our last week's show, we actually had an artist picked up his guitar and sang a little bit of his song.
Bad luck, mate. No. Too early in the morning. Too early in the morning for me. Yeah.
I take that as a no.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, hey, you know what they say, right? It doesn't hurt to ask. What's the worst you can say?
I know.
I'm flattered live on the air.
I'm flattered that you asked me, but not right now. Yeah. I haven't had my toast of marmalade yet to loosen up the throat. You see.
Oh no, you're good. What's the best advice you've ever gotten in the music industry?
Well, I think I can't remember if I mentioned this on or off air before, but when Bill suggested that I sing my songs, and he said to me, Carl, you don't try to be anyone else, just try to be yourself, because you can have a perfectly lyrical and melodic voice, but it doesn't reach people. Whereas if you have the capacity to tell a story, your voice has its own character. So you don't have to be the best singer in the world, but you just have to be able to convey your story. And that's that's the most inspiring and relieving information that anyone's given me, really, because otherwise you become inhibited, except for when someone asks me to sing on TV in the morning like this, I'm inhibited. But what I'm saying is that, be yourself and enjoy it. Basically, that's what it boils down to.
Right on. And what are some of the areas of opportunity for you as it relates to your musical career?
Say that again, please. What are some of your areas of opportunity for you? Areas. Okay. Areas. Okay. Well, certainly writing the music. You can find your way to Tamworth if you want to. My videos are areas of opportunity for me too, because that gets them out there. If people want to go to YouTube, like for instance, I don't know whether you've seen it, but if you look at I crashed my drone in Texas, and you probably use CS Emerton as the handle rather than Desert Pear to look it up on YouTube, you'll see the sort of things I like to do, and people enjoy. I sort of try to add a bit of humor. I don't mean to, but I always end up putting humor into something, you see. So that's one big opportunity for me. And people have asked me to make videos for them as well. So that's one aspect. But they're purely music videos, so it's still aligned with music. And Bill has shows where he's asked me to sing along with him. So or potentially he has sort of exhibition nights where people who are keen to show their wares, they go along and sing with him. I mean, if I was more proactive, the way that those songs are going on Spotify at the moment, I might have to get off my bum and do something, because certainly there is plenty of opportunity around here now. I live about 100 k's north of Sydney, and it's called the Central Coast, and it's a hotspot for country music. Ironically, we're on the coast, but there's lots of people around here. So, there's always shows, there's clubs and places like that where I'll apply myself. Yeah. But that's later in the day when I've had my marmalade, you see. So it's okay.
There you go. Absolutely. Well, Without the marmalade, you ain't doing nothing. I love it. And what's the funniest thing that's ever happened to you in the music industry?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Pick one good one for us. We're live on the air right now.
Yeah, I know. Oh, you got me on the spot there. I don't know really. Let me dwell on that one while you ask me another question, and I'll think about it.
All right.
Yeah.
And so, I know we covered a lot of different things. Do you have any hobbies?
Well, I live, as I say, pretty close to the water here, so we go fishing a fair bit. And actually, I should have mentioned before, my son and wife, they both very musical. So my son's often singing around the background here, and I listen to him. He's often giving me tips. I can't give him any tips, but he always gives me tips. My wife's a pianist. She's played high level piano. So music is still a hobby, but it's still a primary function for me. I still watch the rugby. There's some the Wallabies, the Australian rugby union team. They've got some big games coming up, so I generally watch the footy. Go to the games. I'm interested in. I used to collect rocks when I was a kid, so I've got that. Around here, there's interesting geology, so I sort of, as an adult, I'm more aware of the structure of the earth, so to speak. So I can. We're going a lot of walks, so there's a lot of bushwalking. That's one of our primary hobbies, actually. There's some beautiful forests around here that we go walking in, which are inspirational places as well.
Awesome. I know we've talked about a lot of different topics here on the show this evening. Is there anything that we haven't covered that maybe you'd like to share with our listeners? If so, you've got the stage, my friend.
Okay. Well, gee, thanks, Russell. Well, I suppose I haven't spoken much about my musical influences. Like, as I say, you can see this ugly mush on the screen there. Well, it's getting on a bit, so I can go back in time. So bands like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young were big influences on me. The pure swampy machismo of Tony Joe White, you know, his music, I really like his music. It's sort of, it gets into your body, sort of thing. I went to see him one time in Sydney several years ago now, and he just had a drummer and himself, and it sounded like it was a fully blown band. It was amazing, you know. And I've got pretty eclectic taste, I suppose. I was asking my son before, we were discussing it, and I don't sort of narrow myself down to any kind of genre, but my main working one is you know, is country, obviously, you know. So there's not much else you need to know about me. I don't know if this is relevant. I was a dead man about six years ago. I had stage 4 melanoma, but I was lucky to fall into a clinical trial, and I was one of the lucky guys that survived the experience, you know. So as a result of my participation, the government has sort of made the drug that I was on available to all Australians. So that's another side of my life that it's not music, but you know, it's a bit
That's awesome.
Yeah,
thank you for sharing it.
To be honest, that's one reason. Like, I had to quit the optometry because it was touch and go there for a while. But that enabled me to fall into a more heavily involved in music situation. And so it's been a double-edged sword for me, you know, like it was very traumatic at the time, but it's allowed me to, for the want of a better word, blossom into music.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, thank you for sharing that as well. That's pretty cool. Anything else you'd like to add on to that?
Not really, but I just would like to thank you for the opportunity of being on your show, which has been fun. It's been really good. And I think that given my experience, you know, like, it's live your life to the fullest and love everyone around you, and respect everyone around you. Try and get on with everyone. That's my main motto in life. Like, accept there are differences, but it doesn't matter which side of that acceptance you're on. Just try and respect the other person.
Yeah, I mean, very well said, especially nowadays. You don't really see a lot of that right now. And I mean, in the world that really needs it the most right now, I mean, that perfect time to say something like that. And thank you for sharing it on the show here this evening. But again, on behalf of Blue Shamrock Music and Biker Babe Barber and Company, and Music Dreams USA Radio, a distributed iHeart radio station, it's great to have you on the show. It's so nice to meet you, and I wish you all the best in your musical career and as you continue to progress. And we're going to bring it back. We're going to reach back out to Stephen Brady, and we're going to say, hey, we want that guy back. And maybe next time he comes back, maybe he'll sing for us.
Maybe. By that time, I would have thought about some of the funny things that's happened.
Yeah. And as we wind down the show, any final thoughts?
No, it's just basically go for it. No matter who you are, go for your dreams. That's what it is. I mean, that's a cliche, but that's all I can say, really. One life, you might as well make the most of it, really.
I'm right behind you on that as well. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with us here. And it was a pleasure having you on the show. And much success as you move forward, as I mentioned. And until next time, my friend, you be safe and keep rocking the country music scene.
Okay. Thanks, Russell.
All right. That was Carl Eberton, live on the air with us here this morning. Well, evening here, but morning where Carl is right now. And again, a special thank you to Stephen Brady and Blue Shamrock Music and Karen with Biker Babe Barber and Company. We support upcoming artists just like Carl, and we also support live bands as well. So either or, reach out to our contacts there, and they'll take very good care of you. Again, join us tomorrow morning on the morning show. This is one thing I didn't tell Carl. I'm going to tell him before we let him go. On our morning show tomorrow, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern time, we're going to play one of Carl's songs, and that's going to open up our morning show. And we're going to dedicate to him his amazing musical career. So, Carl, we're going to take one of your songs. We're going to use it to open up the Russell K. Alexis Shaw Brown and DJ Cassie morning show. And make sure you listen, all right?
I'll definitely do that.
For all of our listeners watching now, we'll be watching later. All you got to do is just download the iHeart Radio app and look up Music Dreams USA Radio. Download the station, and you can listen to us 24/7 worldwide. Until the next time, we'll have another live edition of the Music Dreams USA Radio Artist Spotlight Show. Once again, being brought to you this evening by Biker Babe Barber and Company and Blue Shamrock Music, Mr. Stephen Brady. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. We'll see you soon. Until then, have a wonderful week and take care.